everyone. There's a lot going on, that's for sure. The first thing I want to say to you is we've had some really good news, and I think this has been down to the RCM and our ability to lobby and work on behalf of the profession. Yesterday, the Nursing and Midwifery Council's council voted to accept a paper which describes a really good midwifery voice in the Nursing Midwifery Council when we lose the Statutory Midwifery Committee. Now, this is really important. Well over 80% of midwives that responded to the government's consultation about losing the Statutory Midwifery Committee said they did not want to lose it. The government ignored that. However, the Nursing Midwifery Council hasn't ignored that, and they have proposed everything that the Royal College of Midwives said to them was necessary if we were to reassure the midwifery profession that we were not going to lose our ability to speak for midwifery in our own regulatory body. So, for the duration of this council at least, we will have something called a midwifery panel, and that will essentially advise the council on all issues to do with midwifery. It will have membership from the profession and from the 4 countries, and it will really do much of the work that was being done in the past by the Statutory Committee. We will also have, within the NMC, for the first time for many, many years, a professional midwifery advisor. And there will be someone who will advise the Chief Executive Officer on what's going on out there in the world of midwifery, and she will be doing 1 day a week. She'll not be an employed post, but it's a very good thing to have. We also have a promise that the Nursing Midwifery Council will be engaging with the midwifery profession on a wide range of issues. There will be task forces, working groups, forum, focus groups, and the really good thing is that when it's about a midwifery issue, those will all be midwifery specific. It's a really good package of measures, I think, which should ensure that certainly for the duration of this council, we have a very strong voice in our own regulatory body. I'd like to thank all the staff of the RCM who've worked so hard to achieve this, and I would like to thank the Nursing Midwifery Council for listening to us on this particular issue. Of course, that doesn't mean we've got this forever, and there are 2 things about that. The first is that we're continuing to lobby as the new regulation goes through the parliamentary process at Westminster. We don't think we're going to get things reversed. We think we will see removal of statutory supervision of midwives and the Statutory Midwifery Committee, but what we need to ensure is we get a lot of statements out there which support us when we say how important it is that even when things aren't statutory, they do exist. The second bit of good news is that there's very positive progress in all of the 4 countries on developing a new model of clinical supervision for midwives. And we only heard yesterday from our team in Wales that the new model had been signed off in Wales at ministerial level. And we know that it's relatively close to sign off in Scotland. We know that the pilots are running well in England, and we know Northern Ireland is managing to push this forward despite the fact that their own political processes are in a bit of turmoil. So we believe that's good news as well. What I think also needs to be explained to everybody is that we are very supportive of the fact that there are groups of midwives who are now campaigning to change the regulation of midwifery or of midwives, because they haven't felt that we're getting a good deal within a 2-profession regulatory body. And generally, midwives seem to be saying that they want to go back to the old system where we had our own professional regulator. That was called the Central Midwives Board. Now, the Royal College of Midwives isn't campaigning for that, and the reason is that the direction of travel for regulation of the profession of professionals, health professionals, is in a different direction. It is towards the idea of having a single professional regulator, which certainly in the first instance would regulate nurses, midwives and allied health professionals. And it's the RCM's belief that it is more constructive to argue for that process to be implemented. This was a proposal that the Ombudsman made, the Law Commission made quite some time ago. This commission looked at the regulation of professionals, and the idea is that you have a big group of professions in one regulatory body, but all with their separate registers and therefore their separate standards, separate standards of education particularly. And we think that would be a good place for midwifery to sit, and that it's highly unlikely that anyone would enable one profession to be in their own regulatory body. Apart from anything else, it would be incredibly expensive for midwives to maintain that body. So the RCM will be campaigning alongside you, perhaps not always in exactly the same direction, but fundamentally to ensure that the midwifery profession is regulated appropriately, and that in a sense we have a say about our profession. So ARN and the group who are out there that are campaigning on this front as well, we support you. We're happy for you to use the RCM rooms, particularly if you're our members. And it's really good actually to have campaigning groups working alongside the RCM as we both negotiate to what I think is the same outcome. So where does that leave us on other regulatory issues? And obviously the big issue at the moment is the issue of appropriate indemnity for midwives, and particularly for independent midwives. I haven't really anything new to say on that I haven't said before, but I can assure you that the RCM is continuing to lobby both the NMC and policymakers to try to find a solution. We don't have a solution ourselves, but we believe that there are things that people could do to facilitate independent midwives continuing to give midwifery care to their women. So we'll just hope for progress on that front. The next thing that I've been asked to mention to you this morning is the issue of going out and campaigning on the wider front. And there is a march planned, I think it's for the 4th of March, called Save Our NHS. And one or two members have said to me, is the RCM going to be going on this march, officially supporting the march? And our answer to those members had been, no, we've actually made a decision not to support this march. It doesn't mean we're not supportive of it, but we won't be out there marching with them. And that is because some of the issues that are central to that march are issues that the RCM is still negotiating on. Things like the STP plans, the Sustainability and Transformation plans, and we don't feel the time has come to go out and openly protest about those. We do pick our campaigns quite carefully. We can't do everything, but we always support our members being active, and of course the fact that we're not going to be there in an official capacity doesn't mean in any way that we wouldn't encourage our members to get active, get out there and join marches, protests, whatever they feel is right in these turbulent times. So if you are considering going on that march, I hope the sun shines and it's a great day. Finally, I just wanted to say, in relation really to our members and groups of midwives who feel that the profession is under serious threat at the moment, that I don't disagree with you on one level. I think there are real challenges around for the midwifery profession. But, you know, I wouldn't actually say that the biggest threat is the regulatory threat at the moment, other than the real difficulties that independent midwives are in. But I think if we look at the bigger picture, the biggest threat to us is the economic climate. And we are very worried in the RCM at the moment about what's starting to emerge around the workforce, the midwifery workforce that's out there delivering care in our services across the UK, all across the UK. We're worried that there simply aren't enough of you. And we're doing a great deal of work and a great deal of lobbying on these issues. And keep your eyes open, because I think it's the 7th of February that we're going to be launching the next State of Maternity Services report at Westminster, and that lets our MPs across the country know exactly what we think about the midwifery numbers in our workforce, and tries to keep up the pressure to get more midwives recruited in employment. But, of course, the other side of that is that it isn't enough just to recruit midwives. We've got to support midwives and make sure they stay in the profession and are retained in the workforce. And I really just want to finish by mentioning, as we're sort of at the beginning of the year, our Caring for You campaign. Many of you will know about this, but it's the RCM's big campaign to try to get more support for midwives in the workplace, to try to ensure that you can access flexible working, that you get referred to occupational health early if you're sick. We've got 75 maternity services across the UK signed up to this campaign. That's 40% of our, slightly over 40% actually, of our maternity services. We'd like to hit 50% really quickly and then get even higher. So please, if your maternity unit hasn't signed up for Caring for You, for the Caring for You campaign, please talk to your workplace rep and your head of midwifery and see if you can join in. Because really we need to help support all of you in the workplace. Right, that's all for now. Bye.